Good evening, everyone. I hope your week was good. Hey, it's Canada Day. Happy Canada Day. Hope you had some time to rest today and enjoy a day off if you work. And if not, spend some time with your families and friends. It's very wet outside, rather moist if you walk around. The humidity is something else. My goodness, just sitting around and the sweat's coming. It's pretty gnarly. I started trying to record about a half an hour ago, but the sirens were blaring right outside my office window. That was so neat. Anywho, I asked God today, what do you want me to share today? And those of you who've been watching know that I very often, I very often will share something that God's teaching me. Sorry, taking Fisherman's Friend for the frog in my throat. I will very often share what God's been teaching me because I believe that's why you learn. You learn so you can pass on and hopefully inspire others to give them a little knowledge that God's giving you. I will apologize right now. The scriptures will not be on the screen. I'm recording in my office today because we're just doing some wiring and organizing the sanctuary to get ready for Sunday. So I don't have access to the program here to put the scriptures on the screen. So please just bear with me and we'll read along if you want to. I'm going to be reading out of the New American Standard version. So if you have one, grab it. Or if not, you can always, if you use an electronic Bible, you can switch versions. Do whatever you wish. If you are watching this online, please let me encourage you to come on down to the church. There's still time because after the devotional, we will be getting into some prayer time. There's several of us that come on a weekly basis, and I cannot stress the importance of praying, not just praying, but praying together as family. It's more than just seeking God, but it's communing together and fellowshipping in a very spiritual way. So prayer is of the utmost importance. So I encourage you all to come down Wednesday nights, starting at 7. We usually go till about 7:45, 8 o'clock at the latest. So come on down. Come down right now if you want to. Just shut off your computer and come on down. So I asked God what He wants me to teach. And He showed me some images of how I'm dealing with stress, how I'm dealing with life circumstances, how He's helped me deal with things. And so I got to ask you guys this question. How do you prevent life's circumstances from getting the best of you? Now, I know a lot of people, they'll struggle and just ignore the struggle and say, I'm not focusing on that, or even denying that they are stressed out. I'm not stressed out, I can handle this, but then they just end up breaking or snapping. And I've learned very recently this truth about faith, that it's not about denying the hardships. It's not about denying the existence of ways that aren't God's. It's about keeping focused on God and keeping your belief in God, regardless of what's happening out there. It's like a horse with blinders. Obviously, there is something else out there, but you are focused on God. That is where faith comes in. And that is where I hope to give you a little insight into how I deal with things, especially now dealing with my newfound mental issue. I've had to really re-examine not only my ways I deal with stress, but my triggers and that sort of thing. So I was taking, first of all, the Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3, and I can't click, so I'm going to turn. I do love this Bible. Not just it's a good Bible. So let me read chapter 3, verses 1 to 12, and then we will talk a bit about that. My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. For the length of days and years of life and peace they will add to you. Do not let kindness and truth leave you. Bind them around your neck. Write them on the tablet of your heart. So you will find favor and good repute in the sight of God and man. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord, and turn away from evil. It will be healing to your body and refreshment to your bones. Honor the Lord from your wealth, and from the first of all your produce. So your barns will be filled with plenty, and your vats will overflow with new wine. Do not reject the discipline of the Lord, or loathe his reproof. For whom the Lord loves, he reproves, even as a father corrects the son in whom he delights. So what do we got here? Going back to verse 1 here. My son, do not forget my teaching, but let your heart keep my commandments. Again, we talk about the heart is your inner will, your character, everything that makes up you. Not what we see, but everything in you that makes up you. There's only two people that know who you are perfectly. What I mean? What someone else sees about you may not be who you are. There's only two people that know who you are. You and God. Okay? And they're both in you. They both make up your character. So don't forget my teachings and keep my commandments. The teachings of Jesus, both the ones that are recorded in Scripture and the ones he speaks to your heart, don't ever forget them. His commandments, it's not about memorizing the commandments, because absolutely all of his commandments boil down to this. Love God, love your neighbor, love yourself. Love is the key. God is the key. Keep my commandments for length of days and years of life and peace I will add to you. Long life and peace he adds to you just from that alone with this promise. Do not let kindness and truth leave you. Bind them around your neck. Always be kind. Always be truthful. Keep that, and it says, right here. Let everyone that sees you knows you are truthful and kind. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not lean on your own understanding. Trust in him, not in your own understanding, in your own knowledge and your own experiences. Now that can be tough, especially when you know how to work your way out of a situation. You may not need God's help, but when all the earthly knowledge tells you that one way is correct, but that doesn't line up with the truth of God's word, it's a real test. Especially if you're still growing in God, and there's certain areas where and only you and God know, you haven't fully given over to him yet. Trust him when it doesn't make sense, but trust him in that. I was talking to a physician recently about an issue with a loved one who's in the hospital, and this physician's a very, very Christian person, and it's like, I'd ask, how do you keep the faith when you have the medical knowledge to want to diagnose and fix that problem? That's what I mean by that. Like, trusting God first. It's hard, but it's absolutely imperative to living a peaceful, stress-free life. Stress-free might be the wrong word. Stress has come, but the worry does not have to accompany him. In all your ways, acknowledge him. In all your ways, acknowledge him. Now this is specifically pertains to me, what I was looking for. A couple weeks ago now, we've done a lot at the church, and next time you come, you'll definitely see it. But just the renovations and the maintenance and everything, like, it was weighing on me. It was really weighing on me. I was mowing the lawn, and I was just done. Like, everything in me was just like, I don't do this. I don't want to mow the lawn. And God spoke to me and said, worship me. And I just stopped. I was just like, you know what? In all my ways, I'm acknowledging God. This isn't work for the church. This is worship God. And so I mowed the lawn worshiping God as a part of worship. And he brought me back to, Mary and Martha. Martha was in the kitchen working. Mary was at Jesus' feet. Now, Martha got a little prideful and kind of chastised, why didn't you make her come and help me? But Martha should have realized they were both worshiping Jesus, just in different ways, because the behind the scenes work still needs to get done. The worship at Jesus' feet needs to get done. This is all very important parts. But it's not always fun and games as far as what you see, because work needs to get done. But it can be worship and rest in that work. So I encourage you in all of your goings on in life, if you're too busy, give it to God. Work for God. Worship Him in your daily routine. And it helps. Turn to John chapter 4. I thought I would be briefer than this, but that's okay. Sometimes you get talking and you don't stop. John chapter 4, verse 23 and 24. I just want to say, an hour is coming, and now is. Jesus says, the hour is here when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For such people, the Father seeks to be His worshiper. Acknowledging God in all your ways means you're worshiping God in all your ways. You're loving God in all your ways. And if that is just what your natural reaction is to, a little bit of a southern accent there, our natural reaction. If that's just what your go-to reaction is to all of life's happening, it's a very truthful and natural response, worshiping in spirit and in truth. God is spirit, and those who worship Him must worship in spirit and truth. I've heard that verse used to say, well, we shouldn't be showing flamboyant outward signs of worship. It's only inside quiet. That's not what that means. That's not how I see it anyway. You worship in spirit and truth, but what is your truth? Okay? Where is your spirit connected to God? I'm no one to judge if you're not worshiping in truth. But there's no point in trying to convince someone else you are, because it is between you and God. It absolutely is. And Colossians 3:23, I don't have to really turn there, but it's talking about whatever you do, whatever your work is. It's just coming off of the scriptures about working for your master and serving your employer, that kind of thing. But it just says, whatever you do it as though you're doing it for God. The term worship, it means to, kiss the feet, to bow down in respect and reverence, to pay homage to be obedient, to give respect. But really, acknowledging God in all your ways is doing everything you have to do as though you're doing it to God is worship. And if you keep everything He says, like in Proverbs 3, just keep my teachings in your heart, keep my commandments in your heart, be kind, be truthful, and acknowledge me in everything. Come to me for wisdom. Don't lean on yourself. I mean, God is not being conceited when He says, I know the best way to do everything, because He created everything. He knows that everything works a lot better than I do. So, how do I prevent life's circumstances from getting the best of me? Number one, I seek God's approval, not man's. Because man's approval is the reward. The recognition of others is that reward. There's nothing further, but I'm seeking God's approval, because then He will give me more and more and more and more. Okay? I'm seeking God's rewards, not the rewards of the flesh. The rewards of man could bring you rewards in the flesh, but God's approval brings you God's rewards. I seek contentment. I don't seek struggle. Now, some people identify their achievements through the struggle. They have to earn what they get. Blood, sweat, and tears, I've earned every bit of it. But I want God's contentment without the struggle. So I seek the contentment, not the struggle. I seek peace, not strife. The New Testament is full of it, to seek peace with everyone. Do not seek strife. Do not cohort with people who bring strife. Do not fellowship with people who bring strife, but seek peace, man. You cut out. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the word cut out, but when you cut off sources of strife in your life, you will find that it was blocking the peace. And number one is, and the last one here is, give it to God and let Him give it to God and let Him God, you can have all the stress, all the worry, and I'll have your eternal peace and joy. Now, don't look at me and say, wow, this guy's got it all figured out. It gets the best of me sometimes. You get tired, you get run down, life circumstances happen, but I know I can always go back to God and say, sorry I tried to pick this up again, God. You take it. Let me worship you by doing the work that's required. I truly hope that helped you guys. If you need encouragement, pray, let us know. We can pray, but life's struggles do not define you. God defines you. Give it to God. God bless you.